now we just sit here and have no coffee. Hey, hey guys, I just realized that I don't have coffee and Nick has coffee.
I have coffee.
We're gonna go and say, Nick, you start the show and I get my coffee.
Okay. Hi. About 2 weeks ago or so, I think I watched Henning do a review on my guitar, and with the power of flight, I am now in Frankfurt from Toronto, in his studio, in this very studio where my guitar was reviewed. What a time to be alive. So we've just been kind of chatting, and I've been in this amazing studio playing guitar and seeing his, I don't say this often, but insane amount of gear. He has actually too much gear. You actually do. You have...
Out!
You actually...
Go!
You actually have... I can't believe how much gear you have. You have so much gear.
But see, some people say, oh, this stupid trust fund kid, you know, how does he... he just wants to show off. I make reviews for gear. How much am I actually now paying for gear? Well, how stupid would I be to buy gear to advertise it for companies? That makes no sense.
No,
So am I paying for a lot of this? Well, probably not. I have it to show it to you guys. So I'm not trying to show off. I'm trying to show you new gear. And I'm getting shit for it from YouTube. Whoa. And apparently from Nick freaking Johnston.
No.
I'm just saying.
I don't care how you came by the gear. I'm just saying you got a lot of gear. And I mean, to be completely honest with you, it's mesmerizing. It's incredible.
There are no sexual acts in back alleys performed to get the gear.
Well, I mean, if there was,
it would be worth it.
It wouldn't surprise. I mean, you got a lot of stuff. In fact, there's a lot of stuff in this room. If you did like a camera tour of this, there's so much you don't see. But there's other floors of this. I'm gonna call this a compound, where it's just like crammed with. Good for you. Good for you.
Since I started doing these videos, I get up in the morning, make a coffee, and I've never in the last couple of years not wanted to get up.
Man,
it's a fun job, and you know I can do it because of you guys.
Yeah.
And because of nice people like Nick Johnston coming by. By the way, people, Nick Johnston, hello.
I was just telling when you were grabbing your coffee, I was just I don't know if anyone has seen it, but I was on your channel a couple weeks ago in Spirit.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. I'm sorry.
In Spirit, when you were reviewing my guitar, and it's so funny, right? Like I'm sitting at home, I get an email saying, you know, Henning's doing the review guitar, so I watched the video, and now I'm here. It's just, you know, it's cool. The internet, you know.
the internet.
The internet is pretty.
Dem internet.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we're gonna do a whole bunch of videos, so this is not the only one. We're of course going to talk about gear in the Talking About Gear video. But I wanted to talk to Nick about something that interests me. Because you know what? You're not sitting here with him. I am. Oh. So I'm going to ask my questions. And I'm an arranger. Fuck guitar. No. I didn't say that. So I listened to some stuff. And I bought the package of the... What's the album called? Is it Almost Human?
Remarkably Human.
Remarkably Human. Almost Human, that's a TV show. Okay. British TV show.
Being Human.
Being Human is the
Thanks,
TV
Kiana.
show.
Oh, by the way, Kiana up there
Hi.
switching for us today.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you for being
remembering me, Henning.
Sorry, I'll catch shit for that later. No, Almost Human, that's a TV show about a cop with a robot cop.
A cop with a robot cop?
There's a cop and then there's an android cop that he does cases with.
Oh, okay.
It sounds extremely lame.
No, that sounds awesome.
Nah, I don't know. I've only seen the first episode because it was kind of extremely lame.
Almost Human, Being Human, and Remarkably Human.
Remarkably Human is his album.
3 of them.
And on his website, you can actually purchase it in high quality and with the backing tracks, which is kind of cool. So I'm like, hey, backing tracks, always good.
Thank you very much.
Yesterday, hit buy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Which you gotta buy shit from people that are trying to make a living with it, okay? No sharing online. Give the kid some money, okay? Look at him. He needs to eat. Hey. Yeah, come on. So, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
well, I guess if all you do is much like yourself, all you do is drink coffee. You're bound to.
I think this is his seventh cup,
Yeah.
probably, and they're big.
And I've only been here for a few hours. Oh my god.
So I'm like, hey, new backing tracks. Let's noodle over this stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool, E minor. No, wait, what? Oh, cool. Okay, I'm back to E minor. Well, major. Okay, sometimes it's minor and major. Okay. So I'm trying to switch between those two, and then different shit happens. So when I watch him play in these nicely done videos that are somewhere on a field, probably not with a plugged-in guitar and amp. I'm thinking that's probably fake.
I don't know. I'm fake. I don't know the meaning.
I'm just saying. I never see the bottom of the guitar. I mean, is there a cable? Is there no cable? I don't know.
Every playthrough video you've ever seen by any band or artist is 100% real. I mean,
yes.
Sure.
Just like you're touring Germany out of your good heart and free will, and not because you're trying to push some product from some company to Dario. I don't know.
What?
What? I don't know. Hey, the guys from the companies are in the kitchen not paying any attention, so we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Oh man.
Actually, they
damn
can
it, they're
hear
paying
you.
attention. Kiana, take the volume down so they can't hear me.
Well, then I can't
my
hear
God.
you.
Take the volume down.
Yeah, but then I can't hear you. That's also
Okay.
not always the worst, but in this case, it's a problem.
Not always worst.
You guys are
So
white the team.
so back to where was I? Oh yes, you on the field and whatever, and I watched this stuff and I'm like, okay, this is nice, and I love how you focus on the melody and the core of the song form, and you're not noodling and shredding. You barely actually do that on the recorded stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You do that quite a bit when it's for a YouTube video.
Yeah, when it's just kind of like more off the cuff, kind of fun, and just playing guitar for the sake of playing guitar. When I'm doing the records, I don't want to date myself. I think if I was playing, at least that's the thought process I have when I'm recording in the studio that day. I don't want to be like playing, here's the lick that I worked on, because you immediately look back at that, a week later or 6 months later and go like, I could hear what I was practicing on the album. And I don't want that. I want it to be as musical as possible, and anything I do play lead-wise, I want it to be like kind of spontaneous and not overly rehearsed.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're hearing on the album is kind of like a balance between being really guitar-y and still trying to be musical.
It's got to be a song.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I'm doing stuff, if it's a clinic or a show or something, it'll be improvised. And if I'm feeling like I need to throw more notes in, by God, I'm gonna throw more.
Well,
notes
that's why
in.
people come and pay you the big money.
The big money.
It's because they want to see you shred, okay? But
Big money. Continue. Sorry.
why they bring sandwiches?
Sandwich.
Okay, yeah. So
Coffee. Yes.
coffee and sandwiches. He doesn't know that there's gonna be a coffee bill after this video.
Oh God.
You'd be so fucked, dude.
I
You'd
would
be
be.
so
I
fucked.
know. It's like 50 euros right there.
Yeah, but what I like is you're watching this and you're like, okay, this is nice, and then there's this one note just like coming out of nowhere, but it's not the whole note, it's the whole arrangement that takes you into this uncharted territory.
Right.
And which makes it difficult to play over these tracks if you don't have a lead sheet and you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. You
So-
can't just improvise, assume what the next chord is going to be. It might be a substitution, or it might be some sort of.
I wanted to talk about where that comes from and how do you write? And if you haven't heard a lot of his material, and if you haven't, why the fuck not? Then the question, there's a lot of piano, and it's not bluesy kind of piano.
No.
I would call it between ambient and a slightly modern classical approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is a very nice atmosphere because there isn't always guitar, guitar, guitar. I like it when a guitar player can stand back and say, hey, there's another nice instrument that sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds to me that some of this chord stuff comes from a pianist approach.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I like comes from, in terms of harmony, comes from classical music, a little bit of jazz, a lot of film scores. I love just really dramatic music. Sometimes I don't necessarily listen to that stuff, but when I'm creating or composing or writing, whatever you want to call it, I like to have something going on where the harmony is really almost over the top sometimes, really unexpected and unusual. And I spent so long trying to come up with chord progressions and reharmonizing simple melodies to the point where you almost couldn't recognize what key they were in. That just kind of started living in my subconscious and how I compose.
Reharmonizing simple melodies, which means you have a melody and you're going to go, okay, I'm going to land on this note, which will totally be the third of an E minor, totally fine. But wait, it could also be the 2 of an F major. Is that how you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have the melody, which is the core of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it might have been over a more simple chord progression, but then you're going to go, wait, how can I fuck with this? How can I fuck with a...
Yeah.
I mean, mess with, I'm sorry. with the listener's ear and say, okay, this is not going to be what they expect, but it's still the same chord, the same melody.
Yeah, like just kind of break that down so you can see and hear what I'm talking about. So, for example, right now, that's a D note.
Oh, wait a second. I have to warn you. Whenever you're playing, do not talk. Because I'm going to cut out all the mic when you're playing. So it's either or.
Okay, either or. Fair enough. Okay, so I'm going to start with a D note, and I'm just going to change what's against it. So, for example, if I put a B against that, that's going to be a minor third. So we got... Now, if I put a B flat against that, it's now a major third. Let's say I want to make that into a dominant chord, that would now be the flat 7, minor 7, augmented, C, minor 7 flat 5, diminished, minor, G minor, G major, and back. So that one note could have been, and the list goes on and on, diminished. But that one note could have been just about anything. And, if you're to play that, let's say that exact same thing as a chord progression. All of that starts to sound like there's a lot happening. It's just one interval just kind of being pivoted, messed with, or reharmonized. And I tend to think that way when I'm writing something, to the point where I try every possible thing. It's like, does that work? Does that work? And sometimes it's almost too much. So you have to kind of, there's a fine line. There's a balance between being experimental and being musical, and I like to try and fit somewhere in between that. But it's hard to continuously write. I've released 4 albums now, and if I was just using the 7 available chords in any key, kind of gets...
So you don't think about the function of the chord necessarily, but the chord against the melody note. Because for me, there's always, I think very diatonically, and I think functions of chords. Okay, that chord will go to the minor, so it's a 5 of 6 or whatever. So
sure,
I think chord harmony and chord functions, and Stufenharmonik, as we say in German, of course.
Of course.
Ladder harmony, and then the Stufen are the 1, 2, 3, 2 minor, whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
And but when you do this, you could end up with chords that really don't lead to the next chord. So that minor 7 whatever has no relation to the major that's coming after, other than that they have a common tone. So common tones is
that's right, and
how you think.
And that's how it can get too messy sometimes. Is you think, well, if that's the case, then there's no rules except you got to have that note in it. But that can get messy, and then you somehow forget the original idea, or the intent is gone. It's just, let me see how many chords I can fit against this note. Again, it's still trying to be... I'll give you another example real quick. So, I was playing Remarkably Human earlier, and the melody for that, real simple, goes like this. So that melody, except for that last pitch.
One second, let me interrupt you. Kiana, did you just see that? Go to your camera and say yes.
Yeah. Hello? Yes. I
Did you
saw
see
that.
what he did?
What did I do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go back to me. Don't do that.
Why? What happened?
He moved positions like crazy so he didn't have to use his pinky. Use your freaking pinky, lady, okay? I'm just saying. Not saying you did something wrong, but I'm saying don't do what he just...
You can do it.
I just love criticizing great guitar players. That's just the best thing ever. Being a total ass about it. Okay, don't do that.
All good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but move on.
So all those notes were in key. That was all in E minor.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have taken each one of those notes and dumped some. You know, for example, the progression behind it could be like. Or it could be. Or, you know, what I ended up with was a B flat, which is. As opposed to.
Yeah, that's what that was. I tried
Yeah.
to improvise over that and I'm like, what's going on there?
It's that. Anyways, that. That note. That D note being the third of the B flat as opposed to the minor third of the B minor, or the root of a D, or the suspended, like the 4 of an 8. Anyways, one of those chords or one of those options is going to give me something a little bit more dramatic. But then I kind of direct it back into key by going to the Lydian, the C chord, and then A minor. An E major at the very end of that.
So knowing how to build chords and what notes work for a chord is a good idea, I guess.
Yeah, it's I don't see why you wouldn't want to know that stuff. I mean, I get a lot of people like, what's the point of theory? Is it gonna hurt or is it gonna help?
What's the point of theory?
I mean, yeah, when is it?
Knowing shit is a bad idea in general, I guess.
The only time, I guess, knowing too much would be about your like parents' sex life or something. That's the only time when you know too much.
Hey, love that stuff.
There you go.
For me, I'm always a little bit careful straying from those 7 chords that you mentioned. Taking like sub 5s in there, like, you know, the 5 of whatever, like secondary dominance. I do that, or like doing a modal interchange maybe.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is, I'm like, hey, this chord could work here because that melody note fits, which you don't have to justify that chord. You just throw it in there.
Yeah.
For me, I always have there's this German guitar player called Abi von Reininghaus. Complicated name. Great guitar player, and he had an article in the German guitar magazine, which was a lot of like philosophy about how to approach the instrument. And he wrote, a lot of guitar players are looking for the magic scale. They're looking for the one scale that's gonna make them sound different from everybody. And usually that results in crappy stuff that no one wants to listen to. And he said there's so much material in the normal diatonic scale with those 7 notes that you could play this all your life and never even scratch the surface of what's possible with it.
Right.
And that always stuck with me. So I'm always very careful about stepping out of these boundaries.
Yeah.
Which is sad because what you're doing is pretty damn cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it just depends on what your goals are. I mean, I just wanted to write music, and I loved growing up as a kid. I loved science fiction movies, and I love classical music and piano and guitar, and I just at some point in my teens, I heard too much instrumental guitar music from a certain era, and all of that music sounded the same. It all was very lick driven. For example, a guy would put out a record and you would hear what he'd been working on that year. Not compositionally, but technically. And it's awesome, and it's still great to put it on and listen to and go, wow, it's cool guitar playing. But I stopped getting excited about it, stopped getting inspired by it. I didn't want to write music after I heard it. I was just like, well, I mean, he's already playing all these crazy licks. Why would I approach that the same? And I love the idea of having music, like having albums and having a body of work. So at some point I just started, working on stuff and I just figured out ways to try and incorporate different chord progressions and different harmony. And you get there. You just work at it enough, and then eventually you hopefully you find what you were looking for.
It definitely has its very own sound when I listen to your music, and I'm a big. You're gonna go away from that. The Switch Bitch ladies love doing that. I look in the camera, and just when I find out what camera it is, they're going to go to a different one. Thank you, Kiana. So nice.
I know.
I grew up listening to Satriani and Vi, and for me, Satriani was always very inspirational because on every album he sounded, the production at least, the band, everything was completely different.
Right.
And he always tried to go into new areas. But Satriani, for example, has what some guitar teacher in Germany called the pitch axis system.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, which I never fully understood, other than he's staying in one route and then he changes modes around
applying different, yeah.
Which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
But also, when you try to emulate it, not quite that easy, because he makes it sound so simple. Oh, eighth notes on the bass, on the A, whatever, and just move chords around that bring that A into different modes. But then also to have a cool, very, very simple, and his melodies are super simple melody. It's not the easiest thing to do.
No, it's not. That's true. Exactly.
But my point was like, when I listen to your music, it doesn't sound at all like any of the other guitar guys.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you very much. I think, right?
There wasn't like a quality thing at all. It just sounds different.
It's just a thing that
it's different.
An observation.
No, it does. I love that it has a lot of space, and the inclusion of that's the right word, of the piano is just beautiful. Are you playing that?
On the final version, no. There's a UK musician named Luke Martin who he has a similar kind of love for soundtracks and film music and classical music. So it was just a good collaboration. I mean, I wrote all the parts and sent them off, and he dressed them up properly, like how
that's what you want. That's what you want from your musicians. You're like, hey, this is what I want, just in better.
Way better.
I want that from my vocalists, only that most vocalists are stupid, idiot, diva assholes. I think that's the technical term. And very rarely I have a vocalist who will take my idea and just make it really good. And the one that did it perfectly is a Canadian. Actually, I've worked with almost only Canadians.
Oh, yes?
I worked with James LeBrie, cool. Canadian. Worked with Sebastian Asshole Bach. It's not because he's Canadian, just because he's an asshole. Okay. Michael Sadler from Saga, super nice guy, not an asshole. But the one that really nailed it was Sass Jordan.
Oh, you know what? I just did a tour with her. That's so funny.
I never actually was in the studio with her. She's my favorite female vocalist.
She's awesome.
She sang on 2 of my tracks. And I actually gave her rough vocals. Me singing, which is horrible.
Indeed.
Thank you, Kiana. Well, you do. Actually, you can do better. You sing pretty nice.
Thank you.
And I gave her my rough vocal, and she took everything from that rough vocal that I wanted, and nothing that I didn't want, and made it better.
Right.
She was brilliant with that. I mean, usually I grind the vocalist pretty hard.
Yeah.
And Kiana's like, what? No. Ew.
If it was Sebastian Bach, you don't
stop.
Grinded him too hard. But no, she's amazing. She has an amazing ear. She's legendary.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
We did a tour in Holland. It was like just a quick 6 or 7 day run, and every night, like, she was fucking flawless. Like, just playing her pitch incredible. Didn't really need monitors. Like, she was just on always.
And ultra raw power.
Yeah. I mean, she's the real deal for sure.
Canadians know what they're doing, except for that idiot.
That idiot.
Oh, trust me, 2.5 weeks in a studio with that idiot is
It was rough, huh?
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
worst time of my life.
Wow.
Wait, am I allowed to say that because of the lawsuit? I don't know.
Lawsuit?
A lawsuit. Yeah. I lost. Yeah. But whatever. We'll talk about that another day. So the piano. We were at the piano. So the piano in music, I think, is very original.
Thank you.
And in the fact that you have an S-type guitar by some company that we're going to talk about in a different video. And you don't go high gain shreddy sounds. You stay very, very clean. A little bit of overdrive, but never really over the top.
Right.
And I noticed that for most of the themes, you stay in very low registers. Very uncommon usually to be like in fret number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
How come?
I think it probably stems back to a lot of the music I mentioned I was listening to growing up. I just associated those types of licks and melodies as just the antithesis of what I wanted to do. And usually, I also don't like when, for my own writing, when melodies and themes are only able to be properly executed if you have to use guitar technique to execute them.
Mm-hmm.
So if a melody can only be played with, having these exact bending, like I want to be able to play it on any instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to sing it. I want to be able to play it on a piano, or if I had saxophone playing it, as opposed to, just being able to bend the melody. That's also something that's like the current version of me. Maybe in like a year I'd look back at that statement and be like, the hell are you
I like
talking
the
about?
current version of me. That's very,
but
very good.
But anyways, also has to do with my voice. When I'm writing, I don't sing in a high register, so the melodies I'm writing are usually sung first.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would figure out how to play that, and then
you get used to how it sounds down there, and you're like, okay, well, that's fine.
That's the way it was written. And then if there is maybe a reprise of that, like there's this one song called Hypergiant where the B section is then the second time that comes in, it's like, so it's like the first time, then the second time, there's still room for that melody to build. So maybe the second time in a song, in the arrangement, I would go to a higher octave for more drama, basically.
That is, of course, what Satriani
That is
has.
exactly,
Really,
that's his thing.
don't play something new. Play the thing we already know and love.
Yeah,
take it up an octave. Mike Stern, same idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's a vocalist thing. Sing the higher octave, harmonize it, whatever.
Yeah.
Just make it more dramatic the second time around. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with just how I usually write with just an acoustic guitar and my voice.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of expand it, or I'll write with the piano and my voice.
That's why you don't noodle in the thematic sections, because you're actually writing a song.
Yeah,
you're not writing guitar centric.
Yeah. When it comes time to play note stuff, then I just there's a solo section.
Well, yeah.
But I want to be able, like I said, I want to be able to play music on. I want it to be played by any instrument potentially. And also, if I'm writing on a piano, I can't noodle. I don't know how to noodle on a piano, so it has to be very precise and it has to be laid out properly and organized. And then when I take that and bring it to a guitar, I might add vibrato, different guitar, different tone, obviously, different feel, and then you get something that starts to sound more like it's at home, and then eventually turns into this song.
I think that's actually a good point of guidance, saying if you want guitar music to work as music, don't write it on guitar. Because our fingers are always like, okay, noodle, and we do the blues lick and we do the bendy thing. We automatically go into like muscle memory stuff.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that
yeah.
and then take it onto the guitar, we actually have something that people can enjoy as music and sing along, instead of, no one's gonna sing.
Yeah.
No one's gonna do that. It's cool to do, but it's not something that. There are too many albums produced where people just shred from beginning to end, and it's information overkill. Who wants that?
Yeah, it's some there's the nice thing is there's a market for everything, but for me and seemingly for you too, it's not enough. That's not enough for me anymore. I'm just at a point in my life where composition it's this kind of like unattainable goal. You're always trying to get better at it. Guitar playing, I mean, you play enough guitar, you're gonna get good at it. Like, you're gonna get good at the
I'm
guitar.
still waiting for that to happen for me, but okay. Still, I don't know when that happens.
I mean, I used to play, a lot of guitar, and you just, by playing, you get good. When it came to writing music, it's like, what the hell? Like, how do you get good at this? There's no tutorials on how to write a good melody. Here's how I wrote this melody. Great, but how do I? There's really no. Maybe there are videos. I have no idea. I don't.
Well, here's the thing
actively search
with
them out.
melody, which I always tell my students, and I do songwriting classes and stuff like this. You can only write the melody that you can write, because we all have a library of music in our head. We listen to, what we actively listen to. You know what? Forget about that stuff. What your mom listened to when you were a child, what your brother listened to, your grandma, all that stuff, the stuff you hear in an elevator. All these things are influences in your personal music library. Now, if you played 2 notes and said, what would be the next one?
Yeah.
Then for me, that might be a different note, because in my library, I go, I've heard these 2 notes, and a logical third one would be this.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
you have a different library in your head of what you listen to, so a logical third one might be a completely different note.
Right.
And so I cannot teach writing melody to someone who has not listened to the same music I have, because we hear the resolution of these 2 notes on a totally differently, and there isn't a right or wrong. There's just a really sucky and a very great.
Yeah, so that to me is that takes precedent over everything. When I sit down with a guitar, I'll just improvise and play. I'll just improvise and play, but when it comes time to be creative or try and work on a piece of music, I'm not thinking about the guitar as the same way I'm thinking about it when I'm improvising.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of it as a writing tool, which, I mean, it's hard to explain that, but it turns into a completely different. It's no longer the solo instrument. It's a hopefully a conduit for single note harmony and trying to develop a theme. And
It's one instrument like any other. It just happens to be the one you're using.
it
for the
happens to
song.
be shaped this way, and you're not playing it this way or over your shoulder. You happen to be playing.
It happens to have a very, very cool color, if I might say so. Kiana, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Sitting in the very red room where that guitar would just stand out big time. I'm gonna say we've learned a little bit about how Nick Johnston approaches harmony, and actually the whole what note fits, what chord fits around this note is a very, very cool approach.
Now, just sorry to cut you off. The other side of it, which is the far more important side of it, is I can sit here and I can look back at stuff I've written and break it down after it's been written. But the reality is there's really no system. It is what it is. I mean, the way I've written stuff, maybe I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have an acoustic guitar in my hand and I stumble upon something. Would I have written that song if I wasn't up at 3 o'clock? Probably not.
Sometimes shit happens, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just grab the wrong chord. Please tell me that still happens to you.
Of course it does, yeah. Actually, it's funny, this is going to sound real bizarre, but a lot of times when I'm playing and I've zoned out, I'm not thinking about playing, I'll just be repeating something, and it's like, why did I start repeating that? And that will turn, it's like, well, there's something natural about this thing I'm repeating over and over again. And then that will turn into a song. It's like I had to forget I was playing guitar. I had to completely, my brain disappeared somewhere. I just started doing this thing. Anyways, what I'm saying is there's a way I do it, but there's no way to control it. It just happens.
For me, sometimes it's new gear, as you can clearly tell.
Yeah, new gear, absolutely.
Sometimes, I mean, some gear just inspires you. You have, and that is the value of a good pedal guitar or amp.
Yeah, I
when
agree
you
with that.
start playing something like, wait, I've never played this in my life. Why? I just got inspired. This thing just got something musical out of me that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
And that's when you know it doesn't matter how much it is. It doesn't matter what it is. That's when you know you've got a piece of gear that works for you. When you're starting to make magic with it. Not saying magic exists, okay, but you know.
Why would you say such a thing?
Because Kiana magic doesn't exist.
Wait,
Liar.
what do you mean?
How about the Easter Bunny?
That
Yeah.
doesn't exist. And
Okay,
it's
but
scary as heck.
In magic? Magic exists.
Sure.
Okay, you've watched too much Harry Potter. Fine, then.
Maybe you just haven't watched enough.
And now that I can see you in the little window down there, take that crap out of your mouth, lady.
I'm not gonna say anything because we know how that was last time.
Okay. Can we do that again, please? Come on.
I like it stays in.
That's what she said. People said it made her uncomfortable. I don't know why.
No, she's cool. She seems.
I wouldn't go that far, okay? I wouldn't go that far.
She seems like she has you on your toes all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, which is kind of the whole idea here.
Pretty much the truth, yeah.
Okay, I'm not kicking him out. We're gonna do more stuff. We're just gonna end this video here, and you have to wait till tomorrow to see what else we're doing. So, thanks for this one, and we're looking forward to the next one. We're gonna shake, but we're gonna do this 5 more times. So he's not leaving. He's just grabbing more coffee.
More
Okay.
coffee.
Okay. Thanks for watching. See you guys.
Walking through an open field, the sun is setting fire.